as you wish, because I'll ask people to
Okay.
double check when I write them up, which I intend to do quickly.
Thank you.
Yes.
Where you going this time?
Nowhere. I
Oh.
just don't want this hanging over my head. All right, approval of minutes from the last meeting. This is draft 2 that I sent out last week. Peg, would you make a motion to approve?
I will.
I'll second it. Oh, I guess we didn't vote on the approval of the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Minutes, any changes, corrections, suggestions? All in favor?
Aye.
Public comment. Noreen is still here as a member of the public because I failed to ask the Board of Selectmen to approve her being appointed as an alternate member of the committee, so she couldn't be sworn in yet. That request has now gone in. I did hear back from Linda that the board will want to know how long we are asking for her to be appointed, and I just suggested to Noreen that it be a 3-year term through 2027. So, including this year, which she agreed to as long as I will re-up, and my term expires in March. So I guess I would make that a motion because we'd already approved inviting her to be an alternate, but that it be a term as an alternate through March of 2027.
I so move.
Second. Any discussion?
I just have one thought.
Yes.
Maybe on your next agenda, if I have a place on your agenda to elevate alternate if it's needed. It would be right after the call to order. You would have elevate
Okay.
alternates.
Okay,
And just add it to your agenda.
all
You may
right,
not
thank you.
need, may not need the alternate, but at least you have it on the agenda.
All right, it can just be there every week.
Yes,
Or every meeting,
correct.
not every week. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, so all in favor of Noreen through 2027, at least?
Yeah.
Aye. Um, All right. Old business, finances. So we got the financials that I sent out. I don't know why my printer does this thing, black comes out as kind of maroon.
Can you read it?
Oh, yeah.
That's what we-
That's what matters. So, anything jump out at anybody as looking unusual or of concern? Okay, looks okay to me. Nothing much yet for, nothing for contractors yet. Equipment we're over on, it seems to me we talked about that last time.
Correct, we had to take from that line, well, we didn't have to take it from that line, but that was the line we took the -3, that we took the 3,700 out of because.
Oh, that's right. Because we got
We were
less
yeah,
in
on our franchise fees.
franchise fees, right, okay, so. We're spending what we expected to, was just we reduced the line item there.
Correct, and that line could be, well, I mean, it is over, but I don't know if the purchase of the computer itself has been taken out of there yet. I don't believe it has, so,
Okay,
I think that is the purchase of the computer. It came direct. Because
Okay.
Dave purchased it through the
oh,
town.
I'm sorry, yes, it had, and it's probably on
Yeah.
here
It's on the
too.
detail.
Yep.
Yep.
on the detail under supplies, would it be
Nope, under equipment.
equipment? Okay, all right there.
That's the
Um,
PC. That's the
okay.
PC, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, yep, the copy.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so that's that's paid for. All right, anything else on finances? Wages, it looks like we're doing okay, we're more than halfway through the year.
Yeah,
Okay.
been trying to keep an eye on it, and when I looked at it the other day when you sent, or yesterday when you sent this, I felt like we were okay
All right.
there.
Good.
The reduction in the fee from Spectrum, is that something they can do anytime, or is it contractual by the
It's
year?
based on the number of people that subscribe to cable TV.
On any given month, so they could change it at
Well,
any time?
we get paid once a year,
Once a
so they figure it, I don't know if it's on an average or if it's, just how they come up with that, because there could be less subscribers at one month than there are another month.
Right,
Yeah.
so that we're guaranteed a given payment for the year that they've committed to regard, and then they wouldn't.
Well, we're guaranteed 3.5% charge to every cable subscriber.
So whatever comes in on a given month,
Gets added into that.
And,
Yeah.
And we get it the next year.
Right.
So this is 2023's total collection
Yeah,
on the bills of those subscribers.
yeah.
And they get it, and the town gets it in February, gets the amount.
And I did note in the, under finances, the bottom of the first page where it said, Doug reminded us that according to our last contract, we can up the franchise fee from 3% to 5%. The note that we currently receive 3.5%. Linda told me that when I was asking her about the cable agreement. But it is also in the new agreement draft that it can be as high as 5%.
there's a new agreement.
We'll get to that in a minute. Actually, oh yeah, franchise agreement, that's next. All right, so I would accept a motion that we approve the financial reports as presented.
So move.
Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, status. So I asked, and Linda printed me a copy of this 40-some page draft agreement. And it's still in draft form. She told me that the lawyer who's working on this is trying to get a lot of New Hampshire towns together with a draft agreement to go to Spectrum/Charter, and that hasn't happened yet. So we're still technically without an agreement, but operating under the old one. And I haven't read this, through absolutely thoroughly, but I think it's probably similar to where we are.
Did Linda think that was an advantage, that this lawyer was trying to pool a bunch of towns to come to
She
the same
didn't say
agreement?
specifically, but I figure the select board must have felt that way because,
They're
they're
not pushing it.
her to go, on our behalf alone. I assume it'll cost less if we let her
Mhm.
work on several towns together.
Okay.
I did notice on the page that talks about franchise fee payments that it certainly has a blank, 0% of franchises gross annual revenue.
Mhm.
And, because I was gonna ask Linda, shouldn't that say the amount, but because it's still a draft and working with other towns, it's just, not fully in there yet, so.
So if there was the opinion that Madison TV needed more than the 3.5% at this point in time, which I don't know whether, I guess it really depends on Asia's proposal for next year or the year after. Then 3.5 sounds like it's doing it for us without having to raise it at this point. But if we got into a situation where it was costing us more, something drastic happened and it was, we were having to pay more, then we would want a contract for more. I guess it might depend on what other towns are going for as well.
Yes, yeah.
And I attended the selectmen's meeting that they talked about this, that the lawyer was working on this draft, and I asked about the 5%, and one of the selectmen said that I wasn't totally sure, but it sounded like if you had the 5%, you kind of lost something else, so.
Oh, that was give and take.
Yeah, it wasn't
Just
just
clear.
choose
Okay.
what
Clear.
percent you want. It seemed like
Mhm.
there were some stipulations if you did take the 5%. I don't know what those were.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, this does say that during the terms of the agreement, but no more than once in any calendar year, the franchising authority may increase the franchise fee percentage up to 5%, provided such increase is for no more than 1% in any calendar year. And is adopted, resolution, and
Yeah,
so that it can be increased, but
and maybe their lawyer just felt like, it would change something in the contract, but I don't know.
and it may be in the details,
Right, right.
down below there.
Is there any risk in us continuing to operate without a contract while this is proceeding? It's been fine so far.
Doesn't seem so, it's been more than a year.
Yes, it
It's
has.
been, yeah,
That expired.
yeah,
And we're still, we got our payment at the 3.5,
yeah.
Right.
which is about really the only real contact we have, right? Other than.
Yeah, I believe otherwise we've just,
We just
as a
keep-
town, have been ignored. So,
We have the channel,
yep,
they give us the channel, so it's
Yeah.
there, and I guess, and if we had a problem, we'd call them and ask for help, and they do, they have technical support, so I can't imagine them turning us down for technical support because we don't have a contract. but-
right.
Only if their fees keep shrinking. Because they,
If the number of subscribers keeps shrinking, more people
Yeah.
going to
Streaming.
streaming
Streaming, yeah.
television, yeah.
Which we talked about some last month, and the fact that we've got our, what's that fund called?
Well, you've got the expendable
The
trust.
expendable trust fund,
Mhm.
which is considerable,
Yeah,
and we can, we can go to that,
as backup.
yeah. So, my thought is, we leave this in the hands of the select board and keep checking in, and Doug certainly found out that trying to do anything individually got him nowhere, but he tried and tried and tried to reach somebody, so. The select board has his attorney working on it, and meanwhile, on we go. So that's the status. We'll get there eventually. Maybe we'll all be off the board and
somebody
on
else.
other things before then, who knows?
Or maybe hundreds of people may decide not to get Spectrum.
Yeah.
That's my biggest concern, because things are changing
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
quickly in broadcast. And I admit that we did that. So our bill went from 75 to 232.
Yeah, and I haven't had cable since,
Yeah.
TV since March because of traveling and just busy in the summer. I'll get it again next month probably, but.
Yeah, well,
But
you know.
I don't know I don't think there's anything we can do about it, it's,
No,
if-
there isn't.
If it gets to where we,
You pay or you
are
don't.
not getting any money from, or getting so little from.
Well, it's
But
hard.
if you
Spectrum.
were to get optical fiber, your streaming would be awesome. You would have no trouble streaming, and
Uh-huh.
you might not subscribe
Yeah.
to cable TV,
Right.
because you can get a lot of things on all those other little channels.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming.
It really is, Peg.
It's just, let's just try to watch the streaming news. I miss the live broadcast of news during the
Mhm.
convention.
Mhm.
It's hard not to.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on.
I will just add, it would be nice to have Doug's eyes, and he's not here, but on this contract.
Yes.
And Noreen as well. I don't know how much experience you have with cable franchise agreements,
I don't.
but
Is it electronic to even read it?
Yes,
there is an electronic
yes,
copy,
yeah.
yep.
I haven't seen that. You can send it to me, I'll certainly
Okay.
read through it.
Okay.
Okay,
And I can compare to the old one, but aside from that, I just
Mhm.
don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the lawyer knows what he's doing.
Which is why we have-
I just
which is
wanted
why
to
we
read
have
it
it.
and
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
if there was anything that stood out to anybody that
Yeah, I'd like to
has
see
the
if there's
experience. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think the other one was 40 pages, that's for sure.
I don't think so
No.
either. 'cause
That's
I
what lawyers
came
get
across
paid
it.
for.
Yeah.
20,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
40.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's a flag right there.
right, right.
Right.
$100 a page,
It
right?
is, it is a larger font, I will say
Oh,
that.
is it? Oh.
Yeah, yeah, in this one than the older one.
Yeah.
Do you have both in that book?
Yeah, yeah. So that's the old and this is the new.
Hmm.
Well,
Oh, okay.
But, and it's also,
It
it's
is-
spaced differently.
Yeah, it is spaced
Yeah,
differently.
Yeah, yeah, so I don't know in terms of how many
Pages that
words,
has.
pictures, yeah, yeah. All right, staffing, operations, how are things going and looking ahead? You said something about winter staffing.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure if we met again before winter, but I guess it's just been on my mind because, we have, we have staff that travels, we have staff that is here but has other jobs, so.
Is Amanda less available than she had been? or
Yes, because of her, daytime
Is she
job.
teaching at the Academy?
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Yep, and Kasha has a daytime job.
Oh, okay.
So she's not available for any of the day meetings, which is really only the village district meeting for the most part. So I think we're in okay shape, and I don't mind taking on those meetings. Carol and I have kind of been tag teaming them, so that's
Okay.
worked out so far. So I guess I kind of jumped the gun. We don't really need to talk about winter yet.
Okay.
Certainly don't want to think
We don't
about
want to.
snow yet, but just something I guess to think about. I think we'll be okay, but that, it does leave a skinny crew for.
Should we be looking for another videographer?
I don't know. It's hard to justify the need for one meeting.
Okay.
Although it is every week. But it's hard to find someone that is available,
Uh-huh.
and doesn't need a 20-hour-a-week job, so, or 40. So it does get, it gets a little tricky, but.
Would any of us like to get trained as a videographer to work one?
I mean,
once a week?
that's not a bad idea, if, just if there were an illness or, something happened and we needed a backup. And there was a time, that we had kind of there wasn't a lot of people available, and I had other obligations, but I did come down, I started the camera for them, I left, did my other things, and then later in the day came back.
Okay,
So it worked, we made it work out.
all right.
How often has that happened?
No, once or twice. Once, I think, so. Yeah.
All right, I have a friend who just the other day said, I want to work one day a week.
Perfect.
Whether she would want the flexibility, if, to be able to be available flexibly.
Yeah, flexible.
But if it were just that meeting, let me ask her, what day do they meet?
They meet usually every Tuesday morning. Sometimes it's on a Wednesday if they have
Okay,
other obligations. But it's usually every Tuesday at 9 a.m.
Isn't it usually if Monday is a holiday, they meet on Wednesday?
Yeah, that's
I
probably
think that's
part of it, yeah.
Part of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And about how long do the meetings go? Is it-
Oh my goodness, they can go anywhere
That's what I thought,
from
they're-
20 minutes to 4 hours. I
Okay,
mean, you
okay.
really have, you can kind of get a sense if you look at their agenda, but
Okay.
even still, there's no guarantee.
All right,
At
but
the
the fact that
meetings.
we pay a minimum of 2 hours,
Correct,
that
right.
would be,
Yep.
so 2 to 4 hours.
Yep.
I'll ask.
Maybe she'll do it.
I'll ask. Yeah, yeah. Very capable person who, I'm sure could pick up the,
Yeah, and it might not even be necessary, but I just,
okay,
guess I was thinking about that.
all right. All right, installation of new computer. Dave emailed me and said he hadn't gotten to it, variety of reasons, but expects to this week or next.
Yeah, we met this morning and I did a test drive on the new computer. I kind of, pretended to upload a video like we normally would and render it, and everything worked out well. So he's just been moving the files over and,
So he's in the process of installing
Yep.
and setting up,
And he
okay.
was gonna do some more work over the weekend, this coming weekend. So I think it will be live next week. But, he's felt bad that it's taken this long, but I told him it's not like we were out without a computer,
Mhm. Yeah.
we have everything we need, so we are already buying it kind of in preparation,
Right,
so
right.
we were okay.
Yeah.
So that's been going good, and I don't think there might be a few slight differences on there, but I think I can fill in the videographers with anything
Okay.
that may change. I don't think much will, but.
Good. Excellent. Logo merchandise. We've been talking about this for a long time.
Yep, and
Doug's in here
yeah,
to
he's,
suggest stickers. One of my thoughts is, let's ask each videographer, would you like a piece of clothing? What might you use? A t-shirt, a jacket, a quarter zip, a fleece, and maybe it'd be the, I don't know, end of the year gift, although maybe a uniform isn't quite considered a gift, but something we might do. And if Doug might want one himself, and in which case he could, he could buy, there must be places around where you can order just small quantities.
The embroiderer up in Conway.
Okay.
I mean, you can go and get one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
can you? Yeah.
You can get 5, you
Yeah.
don't have to buy 100.
Okay.
so we're talking about for staff at this point, not
Like
for
maybe a
sale.
vest.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
vest with the logo on it.
Yeah, I think a
Right,
zip vest
right.
would be nice, it wouldn't define your whole outfit.
What,
Yeah.
if we can do one at a time, the same logo, but just on different pieces.
Right, you have to give it, they get
Yeah.
the logo, they get that first, and then they just keep it, and then you can just,
Right.
gee, I want 2
Okay, I
vests,
want
or
a
I want
vest
a
and
shirt,
this
or I want a
size and this
hat.
color, and,
Mhm.
yeah. I
Very,
don't know if we
small
wanna-
quantity stuff.
Want to be consistent maybe in the color of the item so that it's a little more
Mhm.
recognizable, from
It's
one
right
to
on
another.
Pleasant Street in Conway.
Does that make sense to you to
Well,
offer that to each staff member, each videographer?
I think that is essential.
Okay.
I don't know that when you go to a meeting, which I did for the first time a couple months ago, not everybody there knows why this person is there. And I was a guest at that meeting, so I figured that other guests who were there, said, who's this person, or why is she taking our picture?
So this was a town meeting, or
This was a school board meeting,
Okay, and,
in which case they hired the cook, but they offered me a job in the kitchen.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
any desire to do that?
No, I
No.
was really looking at the job that was open.
oh,
So, but it was wonderful seeing you there, a familiar face,
Yeah.
and very interesting finding out how the school board works, and
Mm-hmm.
who's there. So,
just remember to speak loud enough so that mics can pick up your voice, because you're not just talking to us.
yeah, right there.
But anyways, so do you think that's a minimum? Do you think there's more that we should be looking at in terms of logo items?
I would love it to see it on stationery.
Well, there it is.
Oh, it's happened.
Yeah, well, Noreen sent me the,
Mhm.
you know, this, and so I just used that, you know, as a blank, it was just that, and
Yeah.
so I did use it here and for the minutes, and, you know, if I had to do any official, this is my printer not doing a great job with
I
color,
see, so,
but,
it's, okay,
yeah, yeah.
that's
I mean, I don't
terrific.
know if you ever send out anything on stationery, but you could do the same thing of,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Right.
using it that
Yeah.
way, so, you know, that we can just print
As
as
needed.
needed, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, there may not
Alright.
be a big market for
Just-
stickers.
Mhm.
Sorry, you do or don't?
There may not be a big market
Yeah,
for the.
yeah, yeah.
If Asia had to put together an invoice for someone who wanted a copy of something, then, you know, we would put that logo on top. I mean,
Mhm.
Sure, yeah,
that'd be the
sure.
same,
Yeah.
the same thing.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that can be done, you know.
As needed.
Easily, yeah, yeah. And yeah, I don't see a big need for stickers, I mean, 500 stickers and will last a long time. Um,
Was that to put on the equipment?
That was one of the things Doug mentioned, but you said that a lot of our equipment is mostly,
It
Tagged
mostly,
somehow
yes,
anyways.
and we do have stickers that say property of town of Madison
Yes,
for,
for inventory stickers.
yeah.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
well, I will email each of the videographers and ask if they would like a piece of clothing and maybe suggest a vest, but, you know, a fleece vest. But it could be a golf type shirt. We talked about, you know, warmer weather, you're not gonna be wearing a fleece vest. Indoors, you might not. See what people say. Any color preference? We use red in the logo,
It's highly visible.
so the vest should be, or the clothing should be a different color, so the red stands out. Any thoughts on what our team color should be?
I don't know. I have a gray one that used to be Noreen's, it still says Noreen on it, I just put something over the.
Yeah.
Okay,
I wouldn't wanna wear red myself.
okay. No, I'm thinking that, you know, we'll let the
Something
red be the
else,
print
yeah.
color, black and red.
The,
Yeah,
yeah, the logo color.
yeah,
Right,
the logo
yeah.
color,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. And we also talked about name badges, which you and Carol and Kasha have,
Mhm.
but we don't know if Amanda does. Would they do those at the same place?
I got those through a badges place that I get an email like every month. I just ordered them online.
Okay,
I could send it to Asia, the next one I get that I see, I'll send it to you.
Okay.
And you can look at it, but all you have to do is Google badges and you'll get a gazillion
Absolutely.
million
Uh-huh.
companies that do it,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
all right, so I will,
And I did wear mine when I was around filming Old Home Week events,
I think
so
that it helps, doesn't
yeah,
it?
I
Yeah.
didn't look like just some random person with a video camera. I had a badge.
all right, will you get Amanda a badge if she needs one?
Sure, yes.
You weren't sure if she'd gotten one, or she was,
She was not on board
Not on
when
board
I
yet,
ordered
okay.
the badges, yeah.
okay. All right, I'm gonna jump ahead, I just wrote in budget under other new business and then come
Yeah.
back to policies and
Good, I wrote
procedures.
that in too.
I realize we probably can't wait 3 months to meet to
Probably
talk
can't.
about budget.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
We did, it came up against this last year too.
Yeah, because we did meet in October, didn't we?
Yeah,
last year?
yeah, I think we did, I think we had just a short meeting to,
Just to
do
go
budget.
just to go over the
yeah.
budget, yes, yes. Draft. Yeah, we also talked about some wage increases as part of the
That was
budget.
what I wrote down also.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we met October 4th and it was mostly about budget and salary.
Mhm.
So we probably should maybe set 2 dates. An early October for a short focused meeting and then
Mhm.
August, September, November meeting or
Was it November?
December.
Yeah.
for a quarterly meeting. Well, quarterly would be November.
But if you have one in October and December would be fine.
Yeah, okay, if there's anything beside budget we need to cover in October, we can. All right, well then, we can go back to setting meeting dates, and my thought was to come up with what works for us and then check with Doug, pending some emergency, so he can agree that the dates work. All right, we talked about bylaws
Oh,
and that
yes.
we don't have any. Well, I looked at a lot of other towns and didn't find bylaws. I found policies and procedures
Okay.
and printed, just a little bit like the table of contents from a couple of different towns.
But you sent one that was Madison's, right?
Yes, yes.
And I think that that's the term that should be where bylaws is.
Exactly, yeah.
That
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That
I
really
didn't find that
became clear
anybody
to
else
me.
has bylaws. They have policies
policies
and procedures
in-
that do talk
public-
about things like
Yeah.
board membership.
Yeah.
And some of these were, 10 pages long and some were 30. It really varies in the details that other towns have on theirs. But we have ours that, where is it in here?
Do we know who it-
Organization. So, yeah, this one,
Yeah. Do we know whose initials those are?
I do not.
Yeah, I don't
I
either.
do not. I can't read what,
And there's no date, there was no date
right,
anywhere on
Right.
it,
right.
so, yeah.
So, yeah, ours is very, very brief compared to others, and I haven't gone over this with a fine tooth comb, other than to say, what was I looking for?
Could I ask where the board of directors' responsibilities came from when you got that?
Again, that was something that Becky gave to me back in the spring when I
Okay.
asked about,
So I would think that you could propose change to that,
Yeah.
and so number 3 would be where I'd propose a change, right?
yeah. Again, though, we don't know, has this been approved by anybody, so I guess
Well,
we
we'll
should,
start,
we should start, yes, yeah, to say,
And
okay,
so,
we want.
we'll
And then,
put
do you
it
think
in
this
there.
is something we're asking the Board of Selectmen to approve, or sending to them as,
I think you could send it to them for questions and comment, but if
Okay.
if this board approves it, I think that
This is
should
what-
be good. I mean,
okay.
they could
Yeah.
question something if they want.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah, okay.
I mean, some of this I don't think they'll even really understand because
Right.
they don't,
They, don't know all the details. Do you
Right.
have this, Peg? This was something I sent prior to our May meeting. These two things, these three.
No, these are not things that would have originally been given when,
Oh, they might have.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
looking for, to
okay,
see if
okay.
they're in there.
All right, so, let's just look at this, responsibilities.
Yeah,
Hold meetings quarterly,
Yep.
and we wanna take out hold of the town meeting room at 5 PM.
Mhm.
Because that's not, date is adjustable to meet director's schedules, I assume by
so you
director.
should say held at the town meeting room, date is adjustable, date and time.
Yeah.
Do you need this retyped in? I mean, I don't mind doing that if you want it retyped.
That would be great.
Okay,
I
because
would
this is
appreciate
just a
that.
PDF,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah, it probably is a PDF,
So I'll
yeah.
make adjustments on my
Okay.
page and then send you
Okay.
that, the
All right.
draft, and it'll be a draft. and-
Thank you, thank
Okay.
you,
all
okay.
right. I'll put the logo on the top.
Wonderful,
Yeah,
wonderful.
okay.
And a date.
And a date.
this
a
time.
date,
Yes.
And then approval, and 3
Yeah.
signatures for
Yeah,
board
yeah,
members, how about
good,
that?
Perfect.
good,
Okay.
Okay. All right, board meeting number 2, meeting, this here, Peg, administering up for the quarterly meetings, should we say, and any additional meetings?
Yep, yeah, and,
Once approved minutes to be submitted to the town clerk.
or as needed, could we put or as needed, or as required?
Yep. Yep. Now, this Madison TV has a set of bylaws. certainly change that to policies and procedures.
Operations, policies, procedures for public education and government peg access, because that's what it's called.
Yes,
Mhm.
yep, yep. General rules the board follows.
So were we gonna exclude the note?
Current set of includes any director from holding, yes.
We're gonna
I-
exclude the note, we're just gonna,
Maybe that, put in that excludes any director from also serving on the Board of Selectmen.
okay. Okay. That says the current set of bylaws excludes. So I didn't see anything in the operating and
No,
procedures
no,
that excluded, but, maybe it's a separate note, it's a separate item.
okay, yes, okay,
Membership,
okay.
membership. There wasn't anything else about membership being a town resident?
I would expect
Membership,
that a member should be,
town resident and excluding, excluding any board of selectmen,
any
board
member
of
of,
selection.
any member of the
mem-
BOS,
Any member of the, yes, excluding,
to eliminate any possible perception of
Yes.
favoritism.
excluding members of BOS,
And should it,
to eliminate any possible.
should it say anything about why we're excluding that board and not others? Our relationship with the Board of Selectmen, how is that different
Any
from our
possible perception
relationship
of
with
favoritism?
other
Well, it's
boards?
really conflict of interest, I think, is really more what I heard.
Cause they have to approve some of the things we do.
That's what I'm thinking, our relationship with that board is different,
Well, I mean, they,
Well,
you know, and they oversee the budget, even though the budget has a committee, it's just an advisory committee, so if something came up about the budget and the selectman was on this board and
That
this-
one.
so that,
Yeah,
you know, they
yeah.
might say, oh, let's give them more money or
So,
whatever. So I can see how there's a conflict
mhm,
to the selectmen, but not other
not to other
boards.
boards, yeah.
also, the origin of the peg, of this all together, was drafted by the legislative body of the town
Mm.
to ensure that all meetings would be videoed.
Mhm.
And so the selectmen could not override the legislative body to say, oh, well, we don't want this zoning board, you know, or we don't wanna be filmed.
Yeah,
No,
they
it is
can't
not
say
in
that.
their purview.
Yeah, yeah,
So, I don't know how to word that, but let me think about it a little bit.
okay, okay, thank you.
I'm not sure you need to explain
Why? Okay,
but, I mean, if you felt like it would clear up any questions that came up.
what's, is there
Then maybe
possible
it's-
favoritism or biases for or against a particular political agenda? That came from somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wish we knew where.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll just say excluding,
Members of the
Members of
Board
the
of
Board of
Selectmen,
Selectmen.
okay,
Yeah, okay,
okay,
yeah.
all right,
and then if anything comes up,
all right.
we can address it.
Yes. Number 4, board members responsible for the budget. This is based upon franchise fees that the town receives. Primary items in the budget are wages and hardware replacement investment. I don't know that we need to say what the primary items are.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Let's take that out.
Sometimes
Make it
less
simple.
is more.
Yeah,
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 less is
yeah,
more, right.
okay. Programming, weekly program is done by the directors. Purchase equipment, I mean, that's part of the budget, the board, is a board responsibility, but,
I don't know that you need that at all.
no, I don't
That
think
whole
so.
thing? Yeah.
All of number 5?
I don't think you need any of
Okay,
that.
okay.
Do you agree? Do you agree?
I don't have a copy
Oh,
for me,
sorry.
I'm very sorry, I should have, but,
5.
I mean, at that time, it was, at the time when Jim Malloy and Jim Dedrick and Mark Graffam were all part of this, they were the directors and they did all the programming, did all the videography and everything.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So this is sort of old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
so that's all,
Right, so that's not the board's responsibility anymore, it's staff's.
It's staff, yeah, it's staff.
Right.
Yeah, it's staff, right.
yeah. I guess I was just looking ahead, you know,
Okay,
some of the
yeah,
other duties that
Yeah.
are still the purview of the board.
But number 6, I think, should be there,
Yeah,
field
yeah,
concerns, complaints about
absolutely.
current programming. And additional duties, again, hiring of staff, I think that should be in there, that's a
Yeah.
board responsibility
Mhm.
to hire and
And communications and that.
oversee the work of the staff, and communicate with Madison
Yeah.
Selectmen.
So maybe take out the inventory, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't see
yeah.
that as being a board responsibility.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
Should it, when it says purchase equipment, I know you're gonna take out that whole thing, but would it be
About
helpful to
approval?
say approve the purchase of equipment over a certain, cause isn't there a certain,
Oh, right,
amount.
right. And
Yeah.
it could be a general saying,
Well, so you have to go to the selectmen if you wanna acquire something 1,000 or more, you have to
1,000
get
more.
their approval. So this could be this, you could be the same,
and
unless
it
you
could
wanna.
say, not say $1,000, but any amount requiring BOS approval, because that amount may change. It used to be
Oh,
500, right,
right,
and now it's
correct,
1,000.
yeah,
Um,
it could go up to 2,000 since everything is so expensive.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I can't remember that we've gone to the board while I've been chair to ask for approval on anything, so I guess we haven't bought. well, but-
If you had to do, like, replace the Telview or something like that,
Yeah,
that'd be a
yeah.
major thing, you'd have to go to the selectmen.
But in buying computers and the other things we've done, nothing has been that amount,
No.
I don't think, yeah,
Um,
okay.
But you
Just
also,
thinking
if you
back.
wanna spend out of the expendable trust, you have to submit a letter to the
Okay.
selectmen for, and other, so I'd have to say approval and submission of expenditures requiring BOS, Board of Selectmen approval,
Makes
Okay.
sense.
including, trust funds, the
Yes,
expendable
yes,
trust fund.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Approve and submit, because you would be, the board would be submitting that,
yeah,
okay. Asia submits to the board, and the board approves, and then it submits to the selectmen.
all right, I think that's a good start on this whole thing, whether we,
You think that's sufficient? Cover the topic?
well, this is a draft, I mean, if you
Hmm.
think of anything else that you think should be in there, we'll look at it at our
But we don't
next
have to
meeting.
come up with additional document.
Well, I was just gonna say,
That's-
do we wanna go on
Yeah.
and look at the policies and
do.
procedures,
I do,
which,
I had some things that I saw.
somewhere in here, I believe it says that we will update this or review it every year,
Yeah,
so.
right, right.
It seems like we should,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, no, I agree, we should,
And then take that out and say every 3 years or something.
every time there's a new chair.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the Board of Directors' responsibilities. Now, the policies and procedures. Oh, Noreen, you agree we should be reviewing this for,
I saw some things that I flagged.
okay.
Do you want me to go over that first?
Well, I wonder if we wanna do it now.
Segment.
We certainly can do some of it, or you and I could get together separately, but,
I don't have much.
Okay,
There's
well then-
some things that I saw.
all right, then let's,
The first thing was under user eligibility, in order to use the TV station, you must be a
wait a second, where are
resident.
we?
Number 5.
Number 5, okay,
Yeah.
yep.
be a resident of Madison. I don't know, I guess that would be okay, for some reason I was thinking of staff, that the staff would have to be a resident of Madison.
No.
Of course, we have Amanda, she's not a resident of
Right.
Madison.
Right.
So I was thinking that maybe that wasn't pertinent. Maybe, in order to use, complete training and or demonstrate competency, of course.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Read the operating policies and procedures, sign a PEG access agreement form. I don't know that we have a PEG access agreement form. So I flagged that.
Yeah.
I've never seen one.
Yeah.
I haven't.
So, so unless we wanna think about some form, I'm anti-form. If you don't need it, don't.
Okay.
Right.
Working well
Alright.
without it.
Yeah.
Alright.
I'm with you, Peg. So I would take that out.
Okay, yeah, if we feel someone has sufficient training and our
Yeah.
trust to use the equipment.
Right. Then under, program restrictions, and that comes on the next page, I'm gonna put page numbers on this.
Yeah, that's a
Page
good
number
thing.
and date and revision, okay, and we'll put approval at the end.
Okay,
Okay, we got references to tapes, so I was just put, if
Okay.
the video is likely, well, there's no, that one would come out totally. Tape would come out, then number B, the audio quality of the video and cross out tape
okay,
must be consistent and of sufficient level to permit adequate reproduction on Madison TV's transmission equipment. If video does not, so wherever tape is, I would put video
Okay,
there.
yeah.
Okay. Then getting your program on television, every resident of a town within the Madison TV viewing area has the right to have his or her program submission broadcast at least once on, instead of saying channel 3, I was gonna say, PEG Madison TV channel, just take out the 3.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
it's changed over the years, different times, so, the program,
and it's not just on channel 3, it would also be on the YouTube and
Yeah.
people could,
and then I would just say the program meets the standards set forth in this document and take out B, because we don't have a
Okay,
form, we don't have an
yeah,
agreement form,
Right.
okay?
You don't have anything like that in your binder, do you? A
No,
PEG
I've
access
never seen it,
agreement?
no,
Yeah.
never,
Okay.
never.
no,
Weird.
yeah.
Wonder where that came from.
And then I just keep going down there, there's a place where video, where it says tapes not picked up within 10 days, I don't even know if we even need that, I mean,
Everything's digital.
everything's
Right,
digital,
right.
so I think we'll
Okay.
just take that
Okay.
part out, yeah. I mean, Asia, you would have to look at this part, because
Mhm.
this is you dealing with the public, if they wanted to submit something.
Right, I do, and I do have it in front of me now, cause I have it
Okay.
on my
Okay.
phone here.
Okay. So I think, and then over on the next page, where also under 7, copyright policy, Madison TV reserves the right to retain copy of any program broadcast on, I would put the PEG Madison TV channel instead of 3 there. Under 8C, there's another tapes reference, we don't do tapes anymore.
Right,
Under E, under 8, says when applicable, the following disclaimer must be included. And we just altered that disclaimer many years ago to say, the opinions expressed here are the views of the reporter and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Madison TV.
okay,
So it was a little bit longer, and I would just put that
That
there,
one there.
okay,
okay?
yeah,
There's another tape on number A, so anywhere where it's, I'll just
Tape,
change
yeah,
fixed
yeah.
tapes, yeah.
Back to ahead of that, under copyright policy, Madison TV reserves the right to retain a copy of any program broadcast for the video library. Do we need that if we're not actually keeping?
I don't think you need
Video.
that, I don't think you need that whole statement.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just take that statement out.
Yeah, although I guess we would keep a copy, you know, a digital copy of
We
the
retain a
program.
digital,
Yeah,
to retain a digital copy of any program broadcast for the Madison TV videotape. Yeah, I think that'd be.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll put in okay on that with the change.
it's interesting reading this, we don't really get a lot of requests for people's program to.
It was a good idea.
Yeah, no, it'd be great if
Yeah.
there'd be more of it, but.
Right.
And the way some of the other towns' policies and procedures work,
Mhm.
there's a lot of talk about that. and
Yeah.
Even doing some training or that have, looks like, more facilities than we do.
Yeah.
Places where people can come and
Yeah.
work on
Right.
Yeah.
editing and various things. Yeah,
Well, maybe one day somebody will come and express an interest.
Yeah.
yeah.
You never know, and at least we'll be prepared.
Yeah.
So then if you go over to the mission page, the only thing that I saw on this one was the, 4, the 5th bullet, coordinating and scheduling use of all audiovisual equipment owned by it for its use in television production and program transmission on the community access channel. I guess we're just so very everything's so very technical now. I mean, it really gets back to that training. You really need to know what you're doing. We can't just allow anybody to go into the station. We've got a lot of equipment in there. It's high tech now. I wanted to add, the coordinating schedule use of all owned by it for its use in television production. It says providing necessary information to persons or groups in the town served, making available instruction in the use of video and other electronic equipment so that people of the town can produce television programs and cable cast them according to the rules of Mad TV. It will air things that people will create, providing a structure in which people can learn, create, and develop. I guess that's really where I wanted to, make some, I mean, it's sort of in here that people need to be trained, but I think that needs to be here too. People, qualified individuals, due to the technical complexity, qualified people must be qualified. They must show qualification. Is that a way to say it?
So it's part of our mission to help them become qualified?
Well, it says the second bullet says making available instruction in the use of video and other electronic equipment. So, one thing would be cameras, using camera equipment, and then the other thing is actually doing the editing and rendering for production. So, maybe it's covered, making available, but I just wanna make sure that someone doesn't just say, well, I know how to use a camera.
Right.
We really should make
Uh-huh.
sure that they are qualified. I think that's a responsibility of the staff or the supervisor. She doesn't need to come to us and say, can we allow this person to use the equipment but person
Yeah,
needs to
so
be
maybe under
qualified.
discretion of, the director.
Yeah, I like that.
I guess you could just leave it at that. I was trying to
just
say
leave it
more,
at
but you could
that.
almost just
Mhm.
leave it at that, because whoever is in that position would be able to recognize if that person was qualified. As, you know, if they went through the training, which is mentioned.
Which is talked about
Yeah,
earlier.
above, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Yep. So I was I'm thinking of adding that onto the second bullet, add that into the second bullet. Is that what you're thinking?
That was,
Okay.
yeah, that was.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that, okay. It's just that there is so much technicalities, there's so
Right.
much technical, you just can't release somebody to,
Yeah, it's
Just
a
do.
lot more, I think, than it probably was when this was
I
written.
totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Okay.
How much
And-
demand is there for folks to come and use it?
There is.
I've never had a request for someone to use our equipment. I have had a couple of requests for us to film a program, for us to come and.
Yes.
We've had those. And then a couple, videos that people wanted to share, which is,
That were already in the digital form that we can use.
yeah. Yeah, 'cause a lot of it now can be just transferred over
Yeah.
and
You know,
uploaded and
Yeah.
edited a little bit and,
Amazing.
yeah.
And technically, all of this equipment belongs to the town. I mean, are we
I would say
protectors
yes.
of these assets?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. And there was a more recent policy that I remembered signing when Donna had sent it along, when she was the manager. She had sent it along for me to sign. It was a new personnel policy from the town that equipment could not be taken out for personal use.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, I mean, some of this
Yeah,
really would,
so I think
Not
under
bad.
discretion of the director
Yeah.
is appropriate,
mhm.
because you could determine whether this was a responsible
Mhm.
use or,
Right.
And is it within the purview of the mission that we do that in the first place, to make our equipment available so other people can make videos rather than?
It sounds like it.
That's what
I
this
mean,
is
I
saying.
didn't really
Yeah, yeah.
know that, but according
Yeah.
to, our original mission, then,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it even has this part where it says if you don't like what you see, counter it and make your own video that says something else, more or less,
that sounds very much like the three men that
Yeah.
started this whole thing.
Yeah.
Now, we don't charge
No.
if they call you up and say, Asha, will you come and video my garden party? How is that?
No, I would clock the hours for that if I, sent myself or a staff to, go film someone's event, then I would,
You would ask them to pay. And is there a conflict there?
Well, if it's
No.
of public interest,
yeah.
then
It's
the
kind of
board,
vague.
and it was to be shown on, broadcast on the station, if it's of public interest, but if they just want it for their own personal use, that'd be different.
Right.
But if they think this is something the town might be interested in,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
if there was some music event, I mean, we play a lot of different,
Mhm.
non-town meeting stuff from other places,
Right.
cooking shows. If I said, people ask me how to make my bread, would you come film me,
Mhm.
making my bread?
making your bread.
And, put that on,
Yeah.
I mean, that could be considered
Oh,
of
yeah.
interest to the
Oh,
town.
I think it would be very
Yeah.
popular.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially you're a resident, you know, I
Yes,
mean, it's
yeah,
a
yeah,
resident,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a resident channel,
Yeah, so.
absolutely.
Or that's something that I could get someone to film me doing and then
Yeah.
send it to you as,
Yeah,
you know.
you could do
Oh,
that.
Here's a-
yeah,
here's a video.
absolutely.
It
Should be right over there.
Yeah, you should be the audience.
And it could end with a
In
garden
front of
party.
a live
which-
audience, just me.
Yeah.
And the following garden
Yeah.
party where we ate
No,
sandwiches made with. the
Peggy
bread.
and I met over oh my goodness, when did we meet? The spring, I guess, because it was just before town meeting, and we had talked about, trying to get more Madison events on the channel, and, I've tried to do that. I interviewed the lady who runs the Once Upon a Story Hour. She's from
Oh,
Madison
nice.
and does it in Madison, so.
I was there one day when she was doing stuff.
Yeah.
It was neat to
Yes.
see.
So it was really neat. But yeah, I mean, and if anyone else wanted to,
He- He's still fairly new, the minister at the church, you
Yeah.
know, that's another person. that
Oh,
maybe
definitely,
person
but
could be.
interview him, where he's from,
mhm.
why is he here,
We've
how's
got
it
a new
going?
police chief, it could be the same
Mhm.
thing,
Yeah,
you know?
police chief.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Just picked up today's paper, I haven't read it yet, but, you know, that
Yeah,
could
it's
be
right
of-
there on the front
Yeah,
page. I saw
yeah,
that.
be
Yep.
of interest to. So that's something that someone else could say, I'd like to do this and give it to you, or,
Right.
I mean, if it's something that you or Kasia or Amanda or Carol had, you know,
Yeah,
time and
absolutely.
interest and could do something with him, yeah, I think that'd be great. I mean, it could be a series of, you know, who's in the town hall, you know, what does Linda do, what does Kate do, what does, you know?
I don't think they want a video camera. They have enough on their plate, but.
It's true, but, you know.
But it might
it's-
be, you know, it might
yes,
be interesting, it's
yeah,
a day,
yeah,
in
as
the day in the
members of the
life
community that, you know.
Day in the life
of a town administrator.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's not go there, we can start with the police chief.
Yeah.
Well, Linda, I really appreciate, no, your name is not Linda, Noreen. I really appreciate your offering to do this, 'cause I think you've got
Yes, me
the
too.
perspective and
Sure.
the skill, and I know you'll make the time to do it.
It
I'll
will
probably
come
have it in my
Yeah.
email inbox
Probably.
tomorrow morning, if
Not
not
tomorrow.
later today.
Maybe next week.
Okay. I think that's a great start on getting these,
I do too.
some
Yeah.
things more formalized.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
but the discussion, it's stimulated.
yeah.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. It does say here that we will review this annually.
Oh.
Do we wanna,
Oh,
We're doing a
the
good
bottom of the
job.
second page, reviewed at least once annually, but do we wanna make that less often, or?
Biannually sounds fine.
It's interesting, it says it will be reviewed and proposed changes will be submitted to this board. Well, who else would be
Reviewing it.
reviewing it annually other than this
then
board?
I probably, we don't need that one.
Yeah,
Yeah, we don't need that statement, just the Madison Board, TV Board, welcome suggestions from the boards of selectmen and residents.
yeah, yeah, okay, okay. We're not committing ourselves to.
That works.
Alright. Okay, anything else? Any other new business? Alright, let's look at some dates. Which is a little hard with.
Oh, I'm sorry, I do have a new business. We've had some, I don't know, air quality issues at the office. We had someone come in and they were working for a couple hours in there and they went home and they got really sick, and it happened to them a couple times. There's definitely fumes in there because of where we're located.
Yeah.
We're in the town garage. It has been brought up to not only some of the DPW department, but also to the Board of Selectmen. And there's been talk of, you know, well, where else could we put them, or, you know, how could we redesign the room, so, you know, I think it's not on the top of everyone's list, but it is something to just be aware of, and I know that the selectmen and all the garage, the DPW department has a lot they're doing right now, but it's just something to kind of keep in mind if anyone has any good ideas for.
I got an idea. How about replacing the air conditioner and having the air conditioner draw outside air rather than from the inside, because that is probably
I
the
think
source
that's
of the fumes.
a great
Yeah,
idea. I can bring it up again. I did talk to, I believe his name is Dave from DPW, and he was in there one day with me, and I brought it up with him, and he cleaned out the filter and the air conditioner for me, and but we did talk about trying to move that. I just don't know if he needs selectmen approval to make like a window space for that, because it is a town building, or if when they find the time, they can just cut a hole in the wall.
Well, two things. One is, I guess my thought is, do we need the window? I mean, it's nice to have, but we always have the blinds, seems like the blinds are always drawn. So they could, if they were to put a wall there, or replace the window with a wall, then it'd be easy to put an air conditioning unit,
True.
right there,
If that
whereas you
window-
have that
yeah.
beam, you could put it on the other side,
But
but
there's
then
that
it's
beam.
over top of the PCs and you'd have to rearrange that,
Right.
so if it could be on that section of the wall,
Okay,
that would be one thing.
alright,
Um,
I'll check in with them
what was my other thought?
again. Maybe they'll
Well,
have a little
escape
time
me.
before winter plowing or something, I don't know.
Oh, also, I think the lighting should be replaced.
Okay,
The lighting is old fluorescent, and there's no reason why we can't have better light fixture in there
okay,
with LED or whatever, so that's another thing. And actually board, that could come, if the expenses needed to come out, they could come out of the expendable trust, or they could
Oh,
come out of that
yeah.
other account
Yeah,
that we have. So it's not, should not be a matter of funding
Of
from,
funding,
we wouldn't have to
right.
spend tax dollars doing that, would be my
yeah,
suggestion.
yeah.
I like that suggestion, that sounds
Okay.
really good.
Do you want me to write a letter to the Board of Selectmen requesting that they do those things? Is that?
Well, maybe Asia can draft up what,
She
talk to
wants.
the videographers and draft up something for you guys to look at in October.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would that make sense, or?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know if
If it would be any different than what you might have.
well, no, I was gonna say, I don't know if I'm an expert on how to relay out the room, like, cause even Dave had said, well, we should probably put your entrance outside of
You
the
mentioned
building.
that a while ago.
So that
yeah.
you don't even have to come in through the garage.
Yeah. Yeah,
That might be more than anyone can take on right now. But at the very least, if we could just, block off that window and get the AC. So yeah, I can,
why don't you think about a general renovation?
okay,
And that way, if it makes sense to put a door there and also have room for air conditioner, that could all be constructed, it would could all
Okay.
be constructed at one time.
yeah,
And you'd have to look at it anyway, maybe something else has to be rearranged, I don't know, but getting it away from the inside of the building, drawing
Yes.
the air in from the inside of the building, we don't know what else is in that building.
oh, I know,
That's so, it's been oil and gas and
yeah,
all kinds of things.
Mhm.
right,
It's not good for anybody.
no.
I don't know why we did that, except the space was there, I guess.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll draft a letter and send it along to you.
Okay,
For you
okay.
to
All right,
look at, or maybe you could even send it to the board and everyone could take a look at it.
yeah,
See
this
what
board,
they-
yeah,
this board,
and then-
and before submitting
and then
it
go
to
to
the
the
selectmen,
selectmen,
yeah.
okay. Yeah. I mean, that means we won't move ahead till our October meeting, if you think that's okay. I don't know if getting a request to them sooner would make any difference.
Perhaps. Well, I'll just send it to you in that
Okay.
case then. and-
Okay, and I can always,
Mhm.
send it to others
Yeah.
for comment.
Yeah,
Okay.
you could email. Then Carol mentioned today streaming freezing. Is that something that would come up, or is that something you're gonna look into? The freezing, I mean, I don't know whether that's because do we have free software, or I just didn't know.
It's free software, so it unfortunately doesn't have a good customer rep that you can just call. I have troubleshot a lot of it.
Yeah.
I just uninstalled it the other week, reinstalled it. And then yesterday's issue was actually the internet itself. So the town was having an internet problem throughout the whole building, so that's another issue. But yes, we have had quite a few issues with the program that we use for streaming. And there are paid for programs. I don't know if any of them are any better. I suppose it's something I can maybe look at reviews and see if one is
Yeah.
better than other. You can also get, you can actually get a box that, it's like hardware streaming, so it actually has to go through a physical box
Mhm.
until it goes.
And when you say
Back to
streaming, is this
either.
if someone's watching stuff on YouTube?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so live, the live videos.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Might that be something that you inquire of Owen Preventure at the NHCCM, the,
Perhaps,
I mean,
yeah, he might know,
he
yeah.
might be a person to contact and just say, you know, we've been having this issue, can you refer us to anybody who, you know, has some experience in that?
Okay,
It's just a thought.
yeah, no, that's a good
'Cause
thought,
we're
I'm glad you
members.
said that, because,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought of that, and I have
Mhm.
just been reading endless forums online of, oh, I had this problem, oh, I troubleshot this, oh, I did
Yeah.
this, and it just,
Yeah.
as soon as I think I figured it out, we have another problem,
No
so.
problem, yeah.
So, yeah, reaching out, it's nice to have someone
To
to
reach
reach
out
out
to.
to,
Yeah, yeah,
so,
yeah.
Owen's a good idea.
Right,
Thanks, Noreen.
sure.
All right, meetings. And so early October for budget, I think makes sense. And I'm likely to be away mid-October, just
Me too.
visiting family, okay?
You and Noreen are both going to be away.
I'm available the week of the 7th, October 7th,
Yes, me too.
so maybe somewhere in there.
Do we wanna stick with the Wednesday, 1 o'clock,
It works for me.
What's the date?
October
Okay.
9?
Mm-hmm. And that's to do budget and
Yeah.
just- okay,
And anything else
Yeah.
that seems urgent?
well, it might be the renovation or something.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, follow up on that, okay.
And then December. And do we need to do December? I wonder if we could get to where an early October meeting becomes our regular quarterly meeting, and then
Yeah.
we're not, you know, putting in an extra one, so if we waited until January to meet,
Yeah, right,
When
me,
the
'cause I'm
budget's
away
due.
the first 2 weeks of December anyway.
okay.
When are budgets due? February 1?
No, in the fall. That's why we're
Yeah.
gonna meet in October, cause they need
For the
it,
budget.
Need it when?
it's sometime in October,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. All right, so maybe we just set that meeting date and wait and,
Okay.
See if we need another?
yeah, and have Doug, so I won't say that it's just budget, but that'll be our next meeting.
Just October 9th.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Sounds good.
And I'll text Doug with that today, and if I hear back that he can't be here, I'll try to get some other options. But yeah, I expect to leave probably after the yard sale on the 11th of October and
Okay.
go drive south to visit family. All right, we will adjourn at 2:15. Thank you, and I'll go up and check that date with Kate as well as
Oh, yeah, I didn't.
register my car and a few other things. Usually, yeah, there isn't any
It doesn't look like
Wednesday
there's any other meetings.
midday.